All right, in today's video, we're going to discuss characteristics of land. Now, land, just like people, has characteristics. So, for example, people have brown hair and blue eyes or black hair and green eyes. That's their physical characteristics. They may be 6'2" and 250 pounds. That is a physical characteristics. People also have an economic characteristic. So they have a job, and based on their job, they have a certain amount of worth. Their net worth, how much money have they saved? Do they have a future inheritance or a trust? All those things are an economic characteristics of an individual. Well, land and property have the same characteristics, meaning they have a physical characteristic and an economic characteristic. And you have to know these for your real estate licensing exam, because there's a good chance you're going to have at least one or two questions based on a concept in this video. So let's discuss the physical characteristics of land first. There are four buckets or four subcategories. The first one is immobility. Immobility deals with the location of the piece of property. The piece of property is never, you can't move it. You can't pick it up and move it across the street or move it across the state. It's immobile. Therefore, it's part of the location of the property, which means location always determines the value of that piece of property. So I put a little $ here and put location next to immobility because that is distinctly part of the valuation of that piece of property. The second one is indestructibility. Now, we can do a lot of things to land. We can grade it, we can landscape it, we can manicure it, but we really can't destroy it. So it's indestructible conceptually. All right, non-homogeneous and non-fungible kind of go together. Non-homogeneous simply means that there are no two pieces of property that are identically the same. Now, you might go to the store, you might buy a pair of jeans. It's a certain brand, it's a certain size. So if you get your jeans home from the department store and there's a hole in them, you can take them back to that department store and get an exact same kind of pair of jeans. You cannot do that with a piece of property. No two pieces of property are identical. Therefore, there are no substitutes. So non-fungible means no two pieces of property can be substituted for one another, unlike our example when we bought a pair of jeans. So these two go hand in foot. Non-homogeneous means there are no two identical pieces of property, and non-fungible means there's no substitute for one another. There is a legal doctrine called specific performance, and basically specific performance says if a buyer or a seller they enter into a contract for property to purchase property or sell property, and one of the parties breach or they fail to perform, then the other can go into court and make them perform. So if a seller refuses to sell a piece of property and the buyer says, hey, I'm ready to go, let's go, and the seller says, I'm not going to do it, then the buyer can go into court and force the seller to sell the piece of property. It's called specific performance. Now, certainly they could go after damages and other things, but because there are no two pieces of property that are identical and there's no substitutes, that's why we have that legal doctrine called specific performance. But that's for a different video. Let's go on to the economic characteristics of land. So the first one is scarcity, and scarcity simply deals with supply and demand. So we know that if a piece of property is in a particular location that's in high demand, then the price is going to go up, and vice versa. Scarcity deals with supply and demand. Situs deals with location. And notice I put a $ here in location. Well, we have a $ here in location for situs. You've probably heard this, location, location, location. Location always determines the value and, quite frankly, the scarcity of a piece of property. And the last one is durability. Durability refers to the improvements that are on that land, such as a house or a garage or a barn. And the higher quality of the improvement, the more durability that piece of property has. Therefore, it has a higher economic value. That's the concept there.